You are listening to the Simple Success Podcast, financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Thanks for joining us for this next episode, where we get into important questions that you have and how they can be explained so that they don't get in the way of succeeding. Here we are in episode 11. This is financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Coaching happiness. When you change you change everything. Last week, we talked about how investors make money, specifically how it's not just the reward, the thing we all focus on, it's also the risk. This week, the pod is about what is a settlement date. This has been a topic for a long time. It comes and goes in current popularity like a lot of things, and once again, it caught some people's attention in the early 2021 controversy over GameStop and Robinhood, etc. I'm not going very far on that to keep the lawyers happy. I'm going to simplify it more, though, by telling you why it's there and what it means to you. Really, what it means to you can be quite personal, so I'll change that to what it should mean to you. Historically, the time is the time it takes between the time that you commit to buy the stock and when the money is required from you and you actually own the stock, or on the other side, when you decide to sell the stock, you commit to sell the stock, and the time that the stock is actually gone from your account and in return is replaced by the cash value. Now, those with a great attention to detail will happily point out things like bid and ask spreads, and they'll be right. That does not change, though, our gut feeling, our common motivation, which is to get something for our money and to get money when we sell something. Now, if you're searching for more detail on this, you can look for T+. In fact, historically, you can think of the T as the date of the trade. Now, that's not where it really comes from at all, but it serves a purpose. For the nerds among us, it comes from the Federal Reserve's Regulation T, or Reg T. Now that is to outlaw a thing called free riding, where a person buys something and sells it again quickly for a profit before his money actually gets called into play. In theory, you could buy something, have it go up in value, then sell it and keep the profit, all without having to actually put up real money. This is supposed to prevent that. And that long period, the 3 business days, comes from a time not so long ago when cash, checks, and physical stock certificates still were exchanged through the U.S. postal system. With the advent of, air quotes, modern electronics, we don't have such problems. Things happen faster. And as a result, we're now at 2 business days, or T+2. And there's lots of talk of T+1 or even T+0. We'll see where that goes. But when we buy and hold or have other sources, when we do what's needed without chewing up all of our brain power, then we can truly enjoy what we love doing. Mostly, you don't have to worry because I'm going to keep coming back to the basic themes of happiness and success over and over again. It's called repetition and it works. Now, how does this play into simple success? I'll tell you in a minute. Hello, everyone. This is John with the Simple Success Podcast, financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Because we know you want to show us some serious love in return for the tremendous benefits you get from us, please head over to https://anchor.fm/simple success. That's one word, simple success, whack support. There, you can choose from a $9.99 per month investor level of support, a $4.99 level, or a basic intro level of just 99 cents per month. That's not much when you compare it to a stockbroker, right? And this is so much more sensible. To leave us a voice message, which just might see the light of day in a future podcast, go to https://anchor.fm/simple success. Again, one word, simple success, whack message. I won't repeat those links because weird. And anyway, show notes. In that spirit, today's episode is, what is a settlement date? Once upon a time, a guy was operating under a delusion. Really? Said everyone else. We all find ourselves in this sort of delusion from time to time. He was thinking that since he had decided to sell X, that he should get the money right away. In fact, he had plans to take that money and buy some Y. But he couldn't buy the Y without having the money from X first. This is an average way to think and to be. Then, one day, our attractive character decided that he wanted to go beyond the average. He wanted to do something better. He had this blinding realization that he could go beyond the concerns of this world by simply refusing to have them. Now, does that sound a little too Buddhist or Stoic or some other metaphysical thing? That can't possibly apply to investing, can it? Oh, yes, it can. And it does. Psychology is in everything. Trademark. That's a big part of simple success. How we make a difference within the rules is what we look at next. Details on that coming up. Let's get on with how to overcome this kind of problem. What to do and when and how to do it. What is a settlement date? Remember, it's a timeline. It's the trade date plus the effect of Reg T in the time frame allotted, like T plus 3, where the 3 is 3 business days. That's what it took in the days when everything traveled via the U.S. Post Office, remember. Now, with electronics, this cushion is not really necessary anymore, as I said. But with everything, the financial business takes its own sweet time to do anything, like the time a few years ago when a company asked me to fax them something. That's another topic, though. So only recently did we get T plus 3 down to the current T plus 2. And someday, probably lower, like I said. And this is only to settle the cash. So have patience. Now, if you're patient, you're not going to be concerned about those couple of days. If you're day trading, it's far more important to have the money available right now, right this second. But that said, patience goes a very, very long way towards success in this business, in this part of our lives. Now, what if you waited until next week to jump into that thing for which you want the money right now? Would that kill your opportunity? Really? When a self-appointed trading priest puts out a newsletter telling you and 100,000 other people to buy CBD stocks, or now or never, ask yourself, how long has passed between the commitment to produce that newsletter and the never, quote unquote, which they're talking about, after which it's supposedly too late? How does that apply to simple success? Well, silently thanking myself for the softball question, the easy layup to keep the sports metaphors going, I bring back to your mind the certain answer. Have patience. Have alternatives. If it's appropriate for your situation and you're comfortable with it, then you can overcome this issue with what is called a margin account. I'll be happy to explain how that works in another episode if you want. Another way is you could have cash on hand, or you could have another source of cash. Yes, it's true it is possible to get in on a particular transaction over a particular stock and make a ton of money overnight, or in days as opposed to years. But if you have two situations where you put up the same amount of your money, you're probably going to choose the one that offers the least risk. That's normal. Now, of course, you could consider day trading, because that's yet another way to solve this problem. But it's not something I generally recommend, because it involves so much constant attention that you may not want to take on. It certainly is not most people's idea of a good time. Even if they think it will be, it really won't be. It can be so involved as to restrict your ability to take a phone call or take a food break or any other kind of break you might normally want. On the good side, a day trader may make dozens of trades on the same day, but before he can do that, the broker must approve his account for day trading. This gets more complex when we diversify into many different types of accounts, where we have to decide if we actively want to trade like a day trader or check passively every so often, like I recommend. Of course, if you really love it, then by all means do it. It's not work then. In fact, it's not even hard then. As with most things, there isn't a right or a wrong answer. You simply need to acknowledge the trade-offs and pick one. And last, have some dry powder. Often, and I just encountered this with a customer yesterday, it's a good idea to keep some amount of your money reserved in cash. Some financial people say that's 1%, others 3% or 5%. No matter the number, when you diversify as I do, you maintain your bank account as the center, and that or something like it can serve as the place you keep your cash reserve. Instead of keeping money dry in each account, you could have one larger dry pool in your bank and fully invest each sub-account. So one is 100% for real estate, another completely for Bitcoin or stock or something else. That's not generalized investing advice, by the way. It might be right for your assets and for your mindset, or it might not be. That's why we have one-on-one coaching options. With dry powder, you're never in a situation where you have to say, I can't buy X unless I first sell Y. You don't worry about having to sell Y first, or even at all. You don't wait to buy X after a few days when the price might have changed and might not be what you want. When you have dry powder, you can go ahead and buy that stock, knowing that any other decision you make can be made independently. There's no pressure on you. And there's no question that we can all use way more of that no pressure thing. What's happening? We're changing the way we look at things. And remember, that's good. Also remember, this is financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Coaching happiness. In 1975, Congress enacted Section 17A of the Securities
This is the
Exchange
part of the
Act
podcast where I'm learning to put those tangents I often go on. I had to create this segment to have a place to put those tangents, with the idea of tying them into the topic of the episode. Thanks to my rabbit hole advisor, I'm undertaking an effort to stay on topic and not fall down those rabbit holes like I know I do sometimes. I've also learned from her that, well, at least in Australia, one can avoid falling down rabbit holes by talking to the rabbit. In other words, letting experts go on those tangents. I'm going to keep that in mind when I'm looking for guests for future episodes of this podcast, so everyone is forewarned, in a humorous way, of course. This time into a statement. What is a settlement date becomes, I invest no matter the obstacle. It's flipping the script, and if I don't, you can call me on it. If you want more information, you can call me on that too. This is financial life coaching from a happiness perspective, coaching happiness. Since a big part of that is your happiness, I'm going to walk down another street, one without rabbit holes, by calling on expert guests and, most importantly, you. When we're done with that, we'll point you to the voice message link for future pods. In this Simple Success podcast, as well as in our webinars and masterclasses, we are very, very much going to want to hear your story. Well, to be real, I mean in future episodes of the podcast's webinars and masterclasses. This means you. Your participation is critical to our mutual simple success. It's important to know how you think, what you've thought, what you've tried, and what you've been unsure of trying. As we told you at the beginning, and as you also find in the show notes, we have ways you can contact us. It involves a special link where you can leave us a voice message, which just might see the light of day in a future podcast. We may have an email address for you as well in the future, and we'll let you know when that happens. Together, we're going to make it great. We're going to do what even we didn't think possible. We know a lot about you already because we know ourselves. For example, we know that you know how to listen to a podcast. We also know that you probably know how to subscribe. The reason every podcast asks you this is because when you subscribe, you automatically download all future episodes of that podcast. This means better rankings, more attention from advertisers, more money, and that means more and better stuff for you. So your motivation is simple and easy. Subscribe, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Overcast, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts. There is no try, there is only do. Remember, this is financial life coaching from a happiness perspective. Right after this, we'll explore some more important detail you should know. But for now, use your imagination to help create your story. And to remind you, everyone listening can head to that voice message link in the show notes to record a voice message for a future podcast. Anyway, to wrap up the story, what is a settlement date? I've explained it really well, I think. You'll tell me if you need more. The key takeaway is that it, like many things, is really only a distraction that our brains often create as a plausible reason for not taking action. Take that possibility out of the picture. Delete the negative. Surround yourself with things which uplift you instead. And as you focus on the good things and the winning things, you'll find a lot more of them happening to you, which is kind of an odd way to transition into the idea of having written exercises to go along with topics. What do you think of that idea? If I, in a future podcast, gave you a specific but really easy assignment where you do something which helps you to reinforce the idea that I'm talking about, would you like that? To be clear, you'd get something out of it. I'm not so crazy as to expect you to do something for nothing. I wouldn't, and you probably wouldn't either. Right now, I just want to know if you'd like that, if you'd find it helpful. I know for practice that repeating something over and over, get it? Repeating something, see what I did there? Yep, I know that from practice, and it really works. And no calculus, I promise. Next week, we're going to look at another concept, and that is the January effect. As always, that got picked for me by my topics randomizer. So you know I'm not prepackaging this stuff, but instead making it relevant so we can all, me included, learn how to do it right. We're going to bring that into the world of investing. It's going to be a great episode. But for now, remember, happy Melba Toast Day. All you need to do is practice, after which you'll get good. Gracias por escuchar. A la próxima.